Good afternoon or good morning, depending on when you're watching this. This is Philip underscore coming with you again with another profound interview for the Budpass podcast powered by SimploPro. I want to welcome our guest for this interview. His name is Trey Hobbs. Trey Hobbs is currently the founder and CEO of Neighborhood Essential, which is a cannabis brand, a flower brand that operates currently in Michigan and also in California. So welcome, Trey. Glad to have you on. So we're going to take some time to get to learn a little bit more about Trey's journey, what brought him into the cannabis space, essentially how is he moving throughout certain policies and industries when it comes to licensing, and overall what made him want to get into the industry as a whole. So again, Trey, welcome.
Yeah, good to be here, man. For real.
Yeah. Appreciate you. Appreciate your time. So we'll go ahead and jump right into some things here. Just overall, kind of describe what made you start a cannabis brand.
So it pretty much, I've been surrounded by cannabis my whole life. I'm from Detroit. My whole family was part of, the legacy, like pretty much did, you know what I'm talking about? They did everything on the low and everything my whole family did. But I really didn't get into actually like cannabis until I would say like a year ago. So a couple years ago, I got picked up free agency with the NFL. Ended up getting hurt like I probably like 2 months in. So after that, pretty much I was just sitting around trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And one thing I always wanted to do with football was always like to give back to the community, help people out. I always wanted to do that. And I was thinking like, what's the next best thing that I can do, to be able to provide that. And then it just dawned on me, just like, cannabis. All of my teammates, a lot of people, were doing. I can't mention names, but we're doing it and stuff. We talked about it and everything. They were trying to get into it, and I was like, this would be perfect. It's something that most people love doing. It's something that's becoming like federally legal, so it's like it's perfect. And I always had a love for the plant overall and the benefits that come from the plant. So I was like, I'm just gonna take off on this journey and just see what I can make out of it.
It's fantastic. So this wasn't necessarily you going through training and doing, this is more so you amongst your peers kind of making a shift after making it a career change after getting hurt and saying, you know what, I can kind of shift my energies into the cannabis industry and still doing it relatively early on.
Yeah. That was it right there. So I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Wonderful, man. So celebrating at least a year within the industry, how has that journey been for you? Was it an easy journey? Did you have a lot of help? How has that been for you?
Man, I'm not gonna lie, with it being so when you really think about things, the cannabis industry, the legal market is still new. It's just starting. So it's kind of hard to get information because either the information just ain't there yet or people just don't want to give it. So pretty much it's been a battle. Like I pretty much just like in Detroit at the time, it wasn't much going on in the cannabis scene. So I was like, I'm just gonna take off West Coast. So I just drove. I just hit all the spots where it was legal: Colorado, Oregon, Washington, all in California. And just networking with people, meeting people. I was meeting from hippies all the way up into like people that work in the government, like all of it. I was meeting everybody and just networking. And then throughout that, I got in tune with this program called Our Academy. And it's like a pre-accelerator. So they pretty much teach you like everything you need to know to get into the industry. So they take it step by step. This year was the first year that it started, and I was in that first group, and I'm in there with some people that I mean that been in the industry for a while, like a lot of OGs and stuff in there. That's mentors and everything like that. So I learned a lot through that program. And then after that, I got accepted into the Ease program, which is real helpful. They got a huge team and everything out there.
And
So
question for you, does EASE, does that stand for something? Is that an acronym or is it just called EASE as
what I
just the
know,
name?
yeah, I just know Ease, yeah. From what I know,
Okay.
Easy, yeah. But yeah, that program is a pretty good. It's an amazing program. You got to pretty much get accepted into it out of 350 applicants. They take 10, and I ended up being one of the 10. So, it's definitely been a battle. I definitely had to put my own money into this. I mean, up late nights, just networking, figuring stuff out, just learning the industry and this in its entirety, the regulations, the laws, everything. So it's like a
And
no.
sorry about that. And how long is the program overall?
So the our academy program, that one was it was 13 weeks, and
Mm.
the woman that's over it, an amazing woman named Hillary Yu. She's like I talk to her every day. I just talked to her a little bit ago. And then the Ease program, I think is the same or 10-week program, but you get a ton of resources and everything. Like they help out with a lot of stuff, just finding funding, just pitching, talking to investors, just everything like that.
Okay. Okay. Fantastic. And with this education and you getting this training through these different programs, and also as you probably are familiar, I mean, not a lot of people are familiar with the programs being in existence. So just you being able to have a connection to mentors, to people that are able to provide you with these resources and certainly these programs has been a big leg up. So now that you have that, what made you want to develop a flower brand instead of doing maybe something else? And I know that you are currently in the process of getting licensing within your hometown, Detroit, and also want to see how that process has been going for you.
So I just chose flower. I mean, I just love it. I love cannabis, but I know which aspect is more appealing. And I know the people that I'm trying to reach love the flower just as much as I do. And that's the way to speak to them. So that's
Mhm.
why I chose flower. But the plant overall, I love the plant overall for what it can do for just the planet and just for, us like humans. It just overall is beneficial in every aspect of our lives. And we just now doing the groundwork on it. We got we don't even know much on it. We still learning every day. Every day it's new terpenes. I just love the whole process that comes with it. I like seeing the nice buds, it's everything. Um, but then with the licensing process and everything back home in Michigan, Michigan market is hot right now. A lot of people trying to get in, definitely into Detroit because the social equity program in Detroit is the best in the country, I would say.
Okay.
We're getting a lot of support there, so I can't complain about that. They're doing their part and giving back to the community with this. So it's a process for sure when it comes to getting into really any new industry. Definitely one that's $1 billion industry. So just going through this process and taking these steps it's been a trip, but it's happening. It's going. A lot of doors opening up. It's looking real good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Because I'm based in Chicago, and I know that there have been some hiccups regarding our equity program, certainly in terms of just getting some of the kinks out the way. And it's good because at least because Michigan got legalized recreationally as Illinois did back
Mhm.
last year. And at least your state is providing at least a clearer path for people to get in and give you a good experience with that. Um, do you see any specific positives or changes regarding the new laws coming out, or even as people are learning more and more about the industry? Any things particular that you should, excuse me, the braces. Is there anything in particular that you think people should focus on?
Like focus on when it comes to getting licensed, or just what you mean exactly?
Like, more so if I wanted to get a license, like, what should I know? What should I look out for? Kind of from that perspective.
Yeah, whatever state that you want to get licensed in, you for sure want to look at the rules, the regulations, and everything before you even think about it, just to make sure that you're doing everything right. Because you don't want to build something up and get to a certain point and then all of a sudden get taken right from under your feet because you missed a certain law or regulation or something like that. And always read the fine print. The fine print, that's a must on anything. And then I would say I know a lot of places, like most places, social equity not as good as like Detroit's is or Michigan is, but I feel like a lot of people should be out pretty much trying to change certain I guess regulations that they got in for like social equity in different places. Like we get pretty good benefits, but I know like you said in Chicago, y'all don't. So if y'all can get a group of people together to just work on changing those to lobby it, I think that'd be a real good choice. And then just one thing everybody need to look out for too is just misinformation, because there's a lot of misinformation going around. So do your own research on everything. Like no matter what people tell you, do your own research. So you want to be up to date on everything. You just don't want to miss nothing.
Yeah. Okay. That's really solid advice. And once you attain your license, whatever you want to share in terms of the vision for your brand, do you see yourself establishing an actual dispensary yourself, or using that for maybe some other initiatives?
Yeah, so I can speak on some of it. Yeah, I ain't gonna speak on everything. I can't
I'm,
yet.
yeah.
But no, yeah, I plan on, so back home in Detroit, I'm gonna have a micro business license. The micro business license pretty much is cultivation. I can grow up to, they got it at 150 plants right now, but we're pretty much lobbying it to be 300. It's also processing, so edibles, all that stuff people likes, and then retail, so selling a storefront, and that's all in one. And then on top of that, I'm also working on the Class C grower's license, which is a 2,000 plant grow, and I want to have that as well. So that's in the works, and that's licensing wise. And then in California, I'm just launching flower products that's gonna be out actually this spring in the Bay, San Francisco, Oakland, and in LA. And
Wow.
yeah, so I like the idea of just being like just in multiple states, but home base is definitely Detroit, because
Yeah.
what I'm trying to do, I really want to start in Detroit. Like my brand, it's a brand, a cannabis brand, a flower brand on the surface, but it's pretty much it's for the people. I'm big on the community and giving back. So when people come into my place, I don't want them to just be there to buy flower. I want them to want to capture like the experience that they get and the education aspect that they get. So I just want to, yeah, I want to. It's just a beacon and pretty much like a positive, something positive for people to look at in Detroit, because we don't really have anything there. Like here, it's just abandoned buildings and just a lot of violence. So just being
Mm.
something positive in the community, and also not just taking from the community but giving back. That's big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You touched on giving back and using yourself as an entrepreneur to be able to do that and make an impact. Can you maybe elaborate a little bit more about the importance of ownership and having that uh, level of equity when it comes to getting into the industry?
Yeah, and that's I'm glad you asked that, because that's one thing too with equity. One thing that I had to learn was to value myself and my equity, because we hold a lot of power, but they try to trick us out of position. So anybody out there that's getting into the industry that's an equity applicant, just know that you bring a lot to the table no matter what they say. Because at the end of the day, they need you. They just try to make it seem the other way around. But yeah, that's super important. And just ownership just speaks a lot. I mean, well, that's one thing we need in our culture and in our community is ownership. I think we need to preach that more. Like, nothing wrong with having a 9 to 5, nothing wrong with any of that. But I definitely value just entrepreneurship and just being able to own something that I can, if I want to, I can give this to like my future family and stuff like that. I can use this to keep reaping benefits for my family down the line, even when I'm gone.
Right.
So it's something like I think that's something we need to think about, because that's something that's going on in other cultures, but you don't really see that in our communities.
Yeah.
So definitely try to, just anybody that got a dream, just go for it. Just keep doing it. Just go. Because I didn't feel every emotion you can feel. I didn't felt through this journey, every emotion, but it's all worth it.
Yeah. And even just speaking a little bit about your story, being drafted into the NFL, getting injured. And at that point, you could have easily said, you know what, I worked towards this dream. I'm not going to be able to fulfill it the way I envisioned. I could have, you could have given up. You could have thrown the towel, said whatever. But you have a level of perseverance where you're able to shift that energy into something else, and now let it be something that's going to benefit, your city and your community overall. So definitely want to give kudos to that.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate that.
What do you think, in your opinion, would be currently the biggest, or the biggest with an S, challenges that's preventing a lot more people of color to get into the industry?
It's a few things. I feel like one is just education on how to get into the industry, and just a lot of people can kind of see the industry as being something that they can't do because we're not taught, even like I said, like how to do it. So it's just like I want to, but then we don't take action. But it's not necessarily our fault. But I think definitely just the education aspect of part of it is super important because you got to know certain things, but it's nothing that we can't do. You just want to know a lot because this industry gets a little tricky and stuff once you get to climbing. And then also just, being from like a community like Detroit, like I'm from the east side of Detroit, just I'm used to, we don't have resources. We don't have this knowledge. I mean, we live in day to day just survival. So you get what I'm saying? We don't really get a lot of time to like think about really what we want to do. We just trying to survive. And I feel like that's one thing that I see with a lot of people, how they stop chasing and stop going after stuff that they want to do is just because of, I don't know, they can't really see further than their environment. So I think I was already born at a disadvantage, just being born into that, but I just didn't let it stop me. So I feel like that was a huge like barrier to entry for me. And then on top of that, just funding, because a lot of these places make it so expensive to get in. Like in a lot of these states, it's just so expensive. I mean, all of them, even Detroit, like it's decent, but it's still who has like 50, 60, 70,000 to just throw towards something. It's a lot. Like the funding is important. So but yeah, I would say that just education aspect and just like funding are the two biggest things. And just, just not being, just letting yourself dream and go after it. I feel like a lot of people don't do that. So those are the three biggest things in my opinion. But for people looking for funding, it's out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like it's out there for sure. Just like start doing your research. It's a lot of more resources that's starting to come to the surface. So yeah.
absolutely. And we're on the second day of Black History Month,
Mhm.
and just a personal kind of share. I feel like we're always super centered and focused on people that came before us, which is always important. But I think about how in an instance like this, where we have a new industry within different states, how we have people who are making history within the industry, just as yourself, because you see this as an opportunity to, as you mentioned, create a level of legacy, pass it down to your family, and also be able to give back and make a direct investment in your community. So not so much a question as it is just more so an observation of the importance of being able to be how you can use this industry to be culturally centered and culturally minded when it comes to helping others and bringing other people into the industry with you. um, and I also wanted to ask, just regarding access, if there was a law, regulation that you could change or implement, even regarding the process, what would that be?
I mean, overall, it's hard to say one. I mean, I would say I can't really narrow it down to one, but I would say
Okay.
like some that can benefit like all of our, communities that really been impacted by the war on drugs is just, I think everybody should get on the same page when it comes to social equity. Like it should be way more back and way more funding and stuff for social equity. I feel like that's super important. And they might as well go ahead and make it federal. We know it's coming. Like just go
Right.
ahead and just make it federal. Like it's already happening, not just even in our country. It's happening all over the planet.
Right.
So yeah, I would say the social equity aspect of it, and then just, make it federal. I mean, release everybody that's in there. They got caught up in that jam that's in prison for them cases over cannabis, and
Yeah.
yeah, let's go federal.
Because I mean, the industry's been established essentially on our backs, and people of color's backs.
Yep.
And then you get the legalization part. And as you mentioned, though Michigan seems to be a lot more um, easier when it comes to getting in, but
Yeah.
still you price people out when it comes to the financial factor, having money available, having liquid assets available to get in overall.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, overall, that for me is my list of questions. So I certainly appreciate you, Trey, for being here and sharing your story. I do want to give you some extra time just to kind of share if there's any uh, events, shameless plugs, anything else that you want to include to let the people know. Please feel free to share that with us now.
Yeah. The program. Anybody that's looking to get in and just learn and actually work with some people that you can trust and that's gonna benefit with you, or you go benefit from. Just look up the Hillary U from our academy. Just that's an amazing source. The website is This Is Our Dream. You can look that up on Google. Amazing people. Like I said, they helping me out, advising me and stuff to this day in the program been over. And then just shoot, follow me on social media, Neighborhood Essentials on Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, that's about it.
All right. Neighborhood Essentials, y'all. Follow Trey, check out his journey, support him if you're in Michigan, if you're in California, check out his brand, support him. I'm sure it's fantastic stuff. What else was I going to tell you before I lose my train of thought? Oh, any final words that you want to share with the people, just in general?
Yeah, I'm just one thing I feel like our community needs to focus on is just thinking positively about things. Like, it's possible. Like, whatever y'all want to do, like, it's 100% possible. Like, don't let the environment and everything that y'all in just pretty much just make y'all closed minded and just afraid to just like take leaps. I mean, it's the perfect time to do it right now. Like, we got to restart. So I feel like this the time to like bust a move. If anybody out there dreaming, it's time to like put it to action. And just don't be selfish. It's enough money in this stuff. It's enough for everybody. And that's what we need.
Yeah.
We ain't got to hold each other down no more. We was taught wrong. All of us can benefit from stuff. And that's an indie aspect of our lives. Like we've been taught that we can't work like with each other. That ain't true.
Yeah.
That ain't true at all. Like, so like, let's start like mending relationships, start working together, start putting this stuff in motion. That's my biggest message. Like, let's work.
Profound words and a great way to end our interview. To everyone that watched, thank you. Again, Trey, thank you for your time. Connect with him as he shared on social media. You can find him on Neighborhood Essentials, and definitely support this brother. For everyone else, if you are interested in being a guest, please put Pass the Bud at the bottom of the comments. Also share and leave any comments that you would like. If you want to connect with Trey, we'll also include his links in the post. Again, this has been the Budpass podcast with Philip_, powered by SimploPro. We thank you again and enjoy the rest of your day.